Hi, Pigeon Off 2. How is your Bible reading plan currently? I hope you are following it well. Here's a couple of thoughts I want to share with us from this week's Bible reading, from Genesis and also from Ezekiel. First thing is this, Genesis chapter 4, verse 7 stood out to me. Sin crouches at the door and desires to have you, but you must master it. Those are words spoken to Cain, who killed his brother Abel. You know the reason. It's because his offering was not acceptable. It was not something that the Lord favored. Sin crouches at the door, at your door, at my door. It could be the door of my tongue, it could be the door of my insecurities, it could be the door of my old habits and desires to have us. And we must master it. Kind of reminds me of the verse in 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 7. It talks about how we can train towards godliness. It involves work. In fact, grace is not opposed to effort, as Dallas Willard would put it. Training is involved. And I pray that you and I will master overcoming sin as it crouches at our door. The second thing is this, that I was just, caught up with how God was experiencing emotional pain and grief because of the condition of the hearts of men. As we read in Genesis chapter 6, how the inclinations of the heart of man was evil, the Lord was grieved. Yet compared to the emotional pain or anger that Cain went through that led to death, the grief and the pain that the Lord experienced led to the repentance of man. And I'm reminded of 2 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 10 that says that godly sorrow brings repentance that leads to salvation without regret. But worldly sorrow leads to death. What a contrast of how our emotional pain can lead to either death or life. May we have that godly sorrow in us that brings forth repentance that leads to life. And finally, from Ezekiel, we read in Ezekiel chapter 36 verse 26 of how he would put a new heart and spirit in us, as he did with Israel. Israel went through a time of being bullied by other nations, despicable because of sin, but for his name's sake, he would redeem a people to himself, not just for the sake of Israel, but for his name's sake, because he is holy. In him there is no shadow of turning, and that's him, our God, the God of consistency and integrity. The God is holy. And so as we close this week, maybe we'll be reminded about these few things, how sin crouches at our door and we can master it, and how God feels the pain and experiences pain and grief when there's sin, because he is holy, but he desires to redeem a people unto himself for his name's sake.